I think people are often used to the bury my heart at Wounded Knee narrative of Native Americans, which is as victims.
Yeah.
And there's no question that they were victims of a westward rolling empire and 378 broken treaties, and we can just go on, and we know what that narrative is like. But the narrative that I told was a narrative of power, of dominance, of power, which came with brutality too. And I think it was a fact. It was a fact that if you go back in time, these Native American tribes, that eventually got crushed, as the Comanches did, and put on a reservation somewhere and had their livelihood taken away from them. But it really, anyway, it's a huge deal, and a narrative that I think, to me, that doesn't take into account the enormous power and dominance and behavior of Comanches is just missing, half the narrative.
Well, it's so fascinating because it's essentially they were living like Stone Age people, and they were doing it very recently. They were doing it like in terms of the way Europe is. You could go and see buildings in Italy that were built long before any of this stuff happened, long before the settlers started encountering them, and they were living like this in this sort of, it's very romantic. The way they lived, just chasing the buffalo and killing them, and then eating only buffalo meat, and then doing very little farming, picking some berries and nuts, and that's about it. I mean, it was just eating meat and raiding and killing.
Yeah, they were hunter-gatherers.
Yeah.
They were nomadic hunter-gatherers, which is what they were. And what the horse allowed them to do which is what they had been before. The horse allowed them to do that only just really, really, really well. In other words, they weren't in a position of becoming agricultural Indians. The horse gave them this ability to, and as you said, they got everything from the buffalo: clothing and lodging and tools and saddles and bridles and food. I mean, everything came from the buffalo. So the horse just enabled them to do this on an incredibly